Ever get that like weird feeling when you can't find someone on TikTok? Like, you were just watching their videos yesterday
Yeah.
and then suddenly they're gone. Well, today we're going deep into the world of TikTok blocking
Ooh, fun.
to help you figure out if you've been blocked.
Ah,
And to do that,
like a social media detective.
exactly, we've got an episode of the SocialWick Podcast queued up and ready to go.
Perfect.
So let's jump right in.
I'm sure we've all been there, like wondering, did they block me or did something else happen? It's like confusing.
Right.
Yeah.
So the first thing SocialWick says to do is just search for the user's name.
Seems easy enough.
Right.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
If their profile doesn't show up,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't automatically mean you've been blocked.
Oh.
They might have just deactivated their account.
Oh. Okay. So how do we figure out, like, is it a deactivation or is it a block?
Well, that's when you got to become a TikTok detective.
Okay.
First, SocialWick says double check the spelling of their username.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy to make a typo and
Yeah.
end up searching for the wrong person.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, account not found 42 is different from account not varied day on 42.
Exactly.
Like, totally done that before.
Another thing they say is to look through the followers list of someone you both follow.
Oh, that's a good idea.
If you can find their profile through a mutual friend
Yeah.
and not through a direct search,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's a pretty strong clue.
Right. Like narrowing down the suspects.
Yeah.
Okay, but what if you search the username and their profile does show up?
Right.
Does that mean you're in the clear?
Not necessarily. SocialWick actually has a slightly more advanced technique for this,
Oh, yeah.
and it involves using TikTok on your computer.
Oh, interesting.
They even give you the format for the web address, https://www.tiktok.com/username.
Okay.
You just put in their username and hit enter. But pay attention to what happens next.
Okay, I'm ready.
If the page says profile not found,
Mm-hmm.
it could mean they deactivated, or it could be the block.
So we're still kind of in that gray area.
Yeah, you are.
How do we get a definite answer?
That's when a second account comes in handy.
Oh.
You could ask a friend to check that same link,
Okay.
or even make a new account just for this.
Oh.
They call these burner accounts sometimes.
Burner accounts.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
So you use the different account,
Yeah.
check that same link, and what happens?
Yeah, what happens?
If the profile suddenly appears when you're not logged in as yourself,
Uh-huh.
mystery solved. You've been blocked.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like catching them red-handed?
Yes, exactly.
So that's 2 methods down.
2 down.
Are there any more clues we can look for?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The next one uses the message box.
Oh, okay.
Think back.
Okay.
Have you ever chatted with this person on TikTok?
Well, we should probably look through our messages anyway, see if
Yeah.
anything looks different.
Right. And SocialWick says something really interesting here.
What's that?
TikTok wipes everything clean when it comes to blocked users. If someone blocks you, all your conversation history with them just vanishes.
What?
Yeah, it's gone.
Wow.
You won't be able to find it.
Okay.
You definitely won't be able to send any new messages.
So it's like they were never even there.
Exactly.
But in a way, isn't that kind of efficient?
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
so.
okay.
It's TikTok's way of, keeping things separate
Yeah.
and protecting the person who did the blocking.
I see.
No more accidental interactions.
Right, right. Okay, so speaking of, traces of them,
Yeah.
our last method takes us to your own content,
Okay.
specifically the comments section.
Ah, yes, the comments section,
Right.
where all the opinions are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But how does that help us with the whole blocking thing?
Well, have you ever noticed comments disappearing from your posts?
Mm-hmm.
It might not just be the algorithm.
What?
It could be a block.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So TikTok's cleaning things up again.
exactly.
Wow.
So if someone has blocked you, their comments on your posts will disappear. And any trace of them interacting with your content is gone.
So do we just wait and see, or can we be more proactive?
SocialWick suggests taking matters into your own hands.
Oh, how do we do that?
Try replying to an old comment from the person you think blocked you.
Oh, okay.
It's a way to test the block,
Gotcha.
to see if that interaction is really gone.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
What happens next?
If the comment thread is gone,
Mm-hmm.
or you get an error message when you try to reply,
Okay.
that's a pretty clear sign that you've been blocked.
Oh, okay. So we've just gone through like 4 methods
Well, yeah.
for figuring out if you've been blocked on TikTok.
Yeah.
But before we go any further,
Yeah.
I think it's important to remember that blocking isn't always a bad thing.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not always like personal,
Right.
Sometimes it's about setting boundaries.
Yeah, and just managing your experience online.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's actually a really interesting part of this whole conversation.
Okay. Like you're choosing who you let into your little digital house.
Yeah, it's like creating a positive online experience for yourself.
Yeah.
Especially when you think about how much negativity there is out there.
Totally. Yeah, blocking can be like a way to protect yourself.
Right.
Wow.
It's a form of self-care. Like you might avoid certain people in real life.
Yeah.
Blocking lets you do the same thing online.
Okay, so it's about like creating a space where you feel comfortable.
Exactly.
Okay.
And remember, blocking doesn't have to be forever.
Oh, that's true.
Sometimes it's just temporary. Like
Right.
you just need a break.
It's like a pause button.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I like that. So we've talked about like identifying a block,
Mhm.
blocking as a boundary.
Yeah.
But I'm also curious about like the reasons why people block others on TikTok.
Yeah, for sure. So like we said, sometimes it's about protecting yourself
Right.
from negativity or unwanted attention.
Yeah.
But it can also be about managing your online persona.
So like someone might block an ex to avoid seeing their post and move on.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about curating your feed, you know.
Digital decluttering.
Yes.
I like that. Another reason could be to avoid like spam.
Yeah, those accounts that are always promoting something
Yeah.
or leaving those generic comments.
Yeah, like great post.
Exactly. It gets annoying.
Yeah, totally. Some people might block someone because they just find their content offensive
Yeah, that's true.
or disagree with their views.
Hmm.
It's about choosing who you want to engage with and what kind of energy you want around you.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, blocking is a personal
Yeah.
decision. It's not always easy to understand the reasons,
Sure.
but a lot of times it's more about the blocker's needs than anything else.
Okay, so for our listener who's trying to figure out if they've been blocked,
Yeah.
what does this all mean?
It's okay to be curious,
Mhm.
but it's also important to respect the other person's decision.
Yeah.
Even if you find out you've been blocked, doesn't mean you need to confront them or demand an explanation.
Okay.
Sometimes it's better to just let it be.
Yeah, and focus on your own experience.
Exactly. And that brings up a good point.
Okay.
How can we make our online experience better?
That's a great question. Like, it's so easy to get caught up in all the negativity,
It is.
but I'm always looking for ways to make it more enjoyable.
I think it starts with looking at our own behavior.
Okay.
Are we adding to the negativity?
Right.
Or are we being part of the solution?
Are we like being thoughtful
Yeah.
or are we just trying to cause drama?
It's about choosing kindness, right?
Ooh, I love that. Choosing kindness.
Yeah.
That's like a perfect motto for online life.
It's not just about what we say.
Yeah.
It's about what we choose to amplify.
Right. Like every time we like a post or
Yeah.
share something or comment.
It shows what kind of content we support.
Okay, so if we're always interacting with negative stuff,
Yeah,
we're probably just going to see more of it.
exactly. So we got to consciously curate our online experience. Yeah.
And support the people who are sharing good things.
Right. Like creating a space where we feel safe.
Yeah. And inspired.
Exactly.
Okay, so choosing kindness, curating our feeds, that's a good start.
It is.
But let's be real.
Yeah.
There's always going to be negativity online.
There is.
So how do we deal with it when we see it?
The first step,
Yeah.
realize we have a choice.
Right.
We don't have to engage with everything we see.
Sometimes the best response is no response.
Right.
Yeah.
And if something is always bringing you down,
hmm
maybe it's time to unfollow or mute.
It's like decluttering our digital space.
Yeah, get rid of anything that doesn't spark joy.
Okay, so we've talked about choosing kindness,
Mm-hmm.
curating our feeds,
Yeah.
knowing when to step away.
Mm-hmm.
But what about when we feel like we need to speak up?
Yeah,
Like if we see someone being bullied online,
that's a really good point.
yeah, how do we handle it?
We have to approach those situations with empathy
Okay,
and thoughtfulness.
so we're not jumping into every fight. We're choosing our battles.
Yes, sometimes it's better to report the behavior
Yeah,
than to engage directly.
because that could make things worse.
It could.
Right.
And we have to think about the person being targeted.
Yeah.
Their safety is the most important thing.
So we can be an ally,
Yes.
but also be smart about it.
Right.
Okay.
Sometimes all we can do is show our support.
Yeah, let them know they're not alone.
Exactly.
It's about creating a supportive environment
Yeah.
and standing up for what's right.
It all starts with each of us, you know?
Choosing to be better online.
That's a good way to put it.
So today we've gone from like the nuts and bolts of figuring out if you've been blocked to this bigger conversation about creating a better online experience.
Yeah. And all connected.
And we've talked about the different sides of blocking,
Yeah.
how it could be both a way to protect yourself
Mm-hmm.
and a sign of these changing social dynamics online.
Absolutely.
But before we go,
Mm-hmm.
I want to leave our listeners with something to think about. What happens when you've done all the detective work,
Yeah.
you've checked all the clues, and you know for sure you've been blocked.
Right.
What then?
That's when things can get tough. It can bring up a lot of emotions. Like
Does
you
it?
might be surprised
Yeah.
or you might feel kind of hurt.
Yeah.
It's important to let yourself feel those feelings.
Oh,
Don't try to ignore them or pretend they're not there.
So how do we deal with those feelings in a healthy way?
Well, first, don't jump to conclusions.
Okay.
It's easy to think it's all about you,
Right.
but there might be a reason for the block that has nothing to do with you.
So take a breath and don't freak out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Instead of like making up stories in your head,
Yeah.
try to stick to the facts.
Okay.
What do you actually know about this situation?
That's a good point. And sometimes that's hard. You know,
It is.
there's so much we don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's where you got to be kind to yourself.
Okay.
Remind yourself that you're not a mind reader. You can't know what the other person was thinking.
Yeah.
And it won't help to blame yourself or make assumptions.
It's about protecting your own mental health.
Yes, exactly.
So if you're struggling to deal with these feelings alone,
Yeah.
what should you do?
Don't be afraid to talk to someone,
Okay.
like a friend, a family member, or even a therapist.
Sometimes it helps just to say things out loud.
It really does.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need someone to listen
Right.
without judging you.
Okay, so we've talked about processing our emotions and not making assumptions.
Right.
But what about reaching out to the person who blocked us? That's a tough one.
Yeah.
It depends on the situation and your relationship with that person.
Like, if it's your best friend, maybe it's worth a try.
Maybe.
But if it's someone you barely know,
Yeah,
it's probably better to leave them alone.
exactly.
So how do we know when to just let it go?
I think it comes down to your gut feeling
Okay.
and respecting yourself.
If you've tried to reach out and they haven't responded,
Yeah.
or you think talking will just make things worse,
Right.
maybe it's time to move on.
That can be hard.
It can.
But it's also about putting yourself first.
Exactly. Sometimes that's the best thing for everyone involved.
So for our listener who's been blocked on TikTok,
Yeah.
what's the main takeaway?
You are not alone.
Yeah.
Being blocked happens.
Right.
It's part of life online.
Okay.
And like with any relationship problem,
Yeah.
be kind to yourself and the other person.
Compassion is key.
Yes,
So to our listener who's been blocked, we see you.
we do.
We hear you.
And we understand how you feel.
Focus on creating a positive online experience,
Yeah.
one that brings you joy and connection.
That's what matters.
And that wraps up our deep dive into TikTok blocking.
It does.
We hope you found it helpful
We hope so.
and maybe even learned something new.
If you have any thoughts about being blocked,
Yeah.
share them in the comments.
We'd love to hear
Yeah.
from you. Until next time, stay curious.